Hey everybody, this is the Sliders Review, and I'm here today to talk to you about the DC Titans show that is now on HBO Max. Originally on DC Universe, but that got shut down, and now it's on HBO Max. Now this was a show I initially really wanted to like. I still do like this show, but I feel as though this show is a bit of a mess. Starting all the way back with season 1, when they brought in these iconic characters and nobody felt the way they did in any other iteration. Now, I've always said to myself that this show seems to be like every season seems to be in a different parallel universe. It's never consistent from the season that came before it, and there's always these continuity issues that are just baffling and confusing. Now, I remember I said that back in season 2 when that came out because it felt like a completely different show. They listened to the fans and they tried to change it, but it still wasn't that great. And in season 3, they still listened to the fans and they still trying to change it. But now much of what made the show so unlikable in season 1 is starting to come back. But then stuff that started making the show likable in season 2 is still there, but it has a weird clash with each other. There's no real balance, to tell you the truth. And it's kind of like, I feel like now they're really trying to step up the personality of these characters and make them more likable. Only problem with that is they should have did it from the start. And if they wasn't going to do it from the start, they should have done it in season 2, which they didn't. So now I'm just like, I don't know how to feel about some of these characters. I don't know which version personality wise I'm gonna get depending on which writer and which season. And when you talk to people about this show, yeah, it is mixed. Some people feel like it's a great, amazing show, and other people feel like it's a mess. And it's like when people who love it, they love it because they get to see their characters on TV, and they say the same thing: it's dark and it's gritty. But just because something is dark and gritty doesn't necessarily mean it's great. And just because you throw out F-bombs every couple of seconds doesn't make a show great, which in season 3, the premiere episode, they constantly dropped the F-bomb like way too many times. And it was just kind of like, I lost count. Another thing this show really needs to stop doing, and I'm going to hate myself for saying this because I really love this character ever since I was a kid, they need to stop focusing on Dick Grayson. Every season seems to primarily focus on him, even though the other ones, so it's like this. Season 1, it was all about the whole Trigon and Raven thing. And so that whole season was the whole season story arc. But Dick Grayson was a major character in season 1, that way, even though it was supposed to be all about Rachel, there were way more scenes and stuff that focused on Dick Grayson and the Robin character at that time and his transition into like leaving Batman and stuff, and the trials and tribulations that he was going through. Then of course in season 2, it was the whole Jericho Slade arc and Nightwing arc. And of course there, yeah, it is going to focus on Dick Grayson becoming Nightwing, which made more sense because that whole season was supposed to revolve around him and the decisions he made back when he was Robin. Now we're in the season 3, and the show is supposed to follow Starfire and the whole Blackfire thing. And yet again, in the first episode, it's still revolving around Dick Grayson and, of course, now the Bat Family. And the thing is, it's so funny because, like, this episode is titled Barbara Gordon, but she doesn't show up until, like, 25 minutes in. Now, when it comes to Barbara, one thing I've noticed is that she told Bruce when she was berating him that he's had every opportunity to stop the Joker after all the horrendous stuff he's done. Now, we all know what she means when she says the word stop. She basically means end him, which this makes you now wonder, like, okay, she's speaking from personal experience because the Joker paralyzed her. And it kind of makes you wonder. You see that this Bruce Wayne has a wall full of guns. You see that he has a Robin that's a hair trigger away from murdering bad guys. He has a former Robin that was like a hair trigger from like maiming people. And now he had a Batgirl that doesn't mind if you take out a serious like threat. So it's kind of like I don't. This is what I don't get. This Batman clearly doesn't have. I mean, clearly he has a no killing rule. So if he has a no killing rule, then why in the world did he train all these Robins the way that he did? And why does he have a room full of guns and stuff? That just makes no sense when it comes to this Batman. And so it's kind of like, does he have a killing rule? Does he not? Because clearly he doesn't, because he hasn't done it yet. But everybody seems to think he's so crazy to the point that he will and stuff. And he even said that he's glad that the cops got to the Joker before he did. So it's kind of like these characters just aren't people that I recognize whatsoever. Now, one thing I do want to point out when it comes to the actress who plays Barbara, like I said before, she is a real life amputee. And it's like, that's pretty cool that they actually found somebody who is actually paralyzed to the point where they can sit in a wheelchair. Now, she does have a prosthetic leg, so she could do flashbacks and stuff. I just think that's really great that they're willing to cast somebody who's actually like that. Similar to what they did in season 2 with Jericho, because I believe the actor who plays that is transgender and he's actually deaf in real life. Now, when it does come to Barbara Gordon, I am curious to know how she lost her leg, because I know the actress is a real life amputee. But she does mention that the Joker paralyzed her, but it doesn't mention how she lost her leg. So I am kind of curious to see how that ties in, and you'd think it would have been explained in the episode entitled Barbara Gordon, but it never is. Now, one main problem I have with this show is that I love dark and gritty stuff, like the Daredevil series, but this show doesn't know really how to implement that on screen very well. See, when this show came out, it piggybacked off of Zack Snyder's, Batman v Superman movie. They saw how dark and gritty that Batman was and how he was willing to kill. And so they made this show very similar. In the first season, like I said before, I don't recognize none of these characters. I'm not talking about appearances because, yeah, some of these people don't look the way they're supposed to look. Beast Boy's skin is not green. Starfire's fire blasts are supposed to be laser blasts, and they're supposed to be green, not like the color of actual fire. And also, she did not dress the way a normal Starfire dresses. And then, of course, there's Raven, who is, I look at her as Rogue from the first X-Men movies. And that's really how this show was portrayed. Like, all these characters are dark. All these characters go around murdering people. I don't think Dick at that time as Robin murdered anyone, but he came very close. And it's kind of like, I don't get it. These are supposed to be heroes, but they're trying to put these in a realistic setting, in a dark setting. But it's like heroes are not supposed to maim and murder the bad guys and stuff. And in the first season, that's all you saw. You saw Starfire literally set people on fire and kill them. You saw Beast Boy turn into a tiger and just start like attacking people. And then in season 2, you actually saw him kill somebody. I think even in season 1, he killed and murdered somebody. And in season 1, he wasn't even brainwashed. Now in season 2, he was. And then, of course, Raven, her whole demonic thing, I don't know if she actually kills anybody, but yeah, she gets pretty close to the point where she is. And of course, Robin, my God, the Dick Grayson Robin, he was just beating the snot out of people in a very, very, very gruesome type of way that even outdid Ben Affleck's Batman. And it's because they were piggybacking off Zack Snyder's more darker, grittier tone. And because that's what was like in. Just similar how to Nolan and the Arrowverse was trying to be like that. With the Arrow show, they were trying to be like the Nolan Batman series. And because they went this whole dark and gritty route, this really alienated fans. They did not recognize any of these characters they know and love from the comic books and cartoon. And so it's like everybody's personality was just completely different. This version of Dick Grayson, Now, when I said the show always revolves around Dick, there is a reason for that. Originally, this show was supposed to be just a Nightwing series on TNT. Then it later got turned into a Titan series and went on to DC Universe, and then later HBO Max. But back to Dick Grayson's Robin in the first season. Now, Robin Dick Grayson has always been my favorite. I've always been a huge Batman fan, and I've always been like a huge Robin fan. It's all started because of the whole Burt Ward Robin from the Adam West Batman series. My God, this Dick Grayson Robin, this dude is extremely bitter. He is angry. He hates the fact that his childhood was robbed from him because he became a vigilante, and he became a vigilante because of the whole Batman thing. He hates Bruce Wayne / Batman to death. He feels like Batman has ruined his life. He feels that Batman is just a literal monster who's very selfish and only thinks about himself and never cares about nobody else, despite Batman going around saving people and stuff. And it's like, so you get this impression that this version of Batman is this huge butthole of like a person. But then, actually, before I get into that, let me get into the series finale. So, and then Robin, he gets possessed by Trigon, and he has this like dark nightmare type thing. And in that, his perception of Batman comes to life in his dream, to where Batman's going around murdering all the villains and stuff. And then, so Dick is kind of like, okay, I have to stop Batman. I'm going to have to kill him. This is Dick literally wanting to do this in real life. He literally wants to kill Batman in real life, but he doesn't because, one, he's not a murderer, and two, the man is his father figure, but he sees this man as someone who needs to be stopped. Very similar to how Batman wanted to kill Superman in Batman v Superman. See, they're just piggybacking off of what Zack Snyder did. So, in that, he does end up killing Batman and stuff. But it's a hallucination, like I said before. But these are his real feelings towards the man. And then in season 2, when we actually finally meet Bruce Wayne, this Bruce Wayne is pretty cool. Like, he's chill and everything. And it's just like, so where is this big bad bat that we heard so much about in season 1? Because in season 1, they made this dude seem like he's the devil. And then when we see this Batman, he's the most genuine, charismatic, and like nice, considerate person you would ever see in the entire series. And it's just like, I don't understand where this fake fixation was of this Bruce Wayne being this evil person when he's nothing like that. Like, he is nothing like that in season 2. He is just like a cool character. So it's kind of like in season 2, they decided, okay, let's scrap that whole perception from season 1 and come up with something different, since people don't like that whole darker, grittier tone. But then also we see Bruce and Dick get along extremely well in season 2. So I don't get it. If Dick hates him and thinks he's a monster, why is he chatting it up with Bruce? Like, I just don't get that, because the writing is not consistent. We get into season 3 and they bring back that version of season 1 that Dick hated so much. First, he's all sympathetic because Jason died, and Bruce is rattled by that. And then, so throughout that, we see Dick and Barbara talking, and they're talking about Bruce. He tells Barbara, come and visit Bruce. He's not feeling well. I couldn't believe what I was hearing. This version of Barbara Gordon is ice cold, similar to that of Batman Beyond. But in Batman Beyond, at least we knew we didn't know why she was ice cold in Batman Beyond, but because she was older and stuff. And apparently, Bruce, this version of Bruce, he's like more towards the mission. We just assume that, okay, he's just a little too gung-ho in the nightlife, and he's just being a jerk. We got to see a little bit of that in the New Adventures of Batman, where he was kind of mean to the new Robin. And when Nightwing came back, we saw how much Nightwing hated him and stuff. But this Barbara Gordon was just going on and on and on about how terrible Bruce is as a person and how he trains these young kids to be like these vigilante, like assassin weapon type thing. Not assassins, but you know, he trains them to be like weapons, beating people up at night, and all this stuff that Dick was saying in season one. So it's kind of like, geez, man, like she really hates this dude. And so it's kind of, and then of course her father, he is dead. He died of a heart attack. And so she blames him for that. And it's just like she's doing the same thing Dick did in season one. And so we kind of like, well, how is this justified? Because in season two, we saw he's nothing like that. But then, something I wanted to point out when it comes to this version of Bruce, I noticed when they was in the Batcave, Bruce has an entire wall filled with firearms, guns, assault rifles. Bruce Wayne doesn't do that. Bruce Wayne is not for guns. I was shocked when I saw that. It's just like, what is the deal with that? And then they also show that he has the dinosaur and the giant penny in the Batcave, but it's in the form of a hologram. I guess they couldn't afford to do the real thing. And I'm just like, and I thought the Batcave from Batwoman was weird with the crossbow and the little teeny tiny dinosaur and everything. But they just stepped it up with the weirdness and stuff. And when we do see Bruce, he comes at night when to what's his name, Dick's room, and he has a huge scar on his face, and he dropped the crowbar that the Joker used to kill Jason Todd. And it's like he's frantic. He is like distressed. He is distraught. He is totally upset. He cannot deal with the death of all these people. Alfred's now dead. Jim Gordon's dead. Jason Todd is now, or supposedly dead, but he's coming back. We know he's the Red Hood. Come on now. Oh, by the way, I've only seen episode 1. I haven't got to episode 2 yet. And so he's distraught. And he literally tells Dick that, you know, he can't do this. He has to have a sidekick to go at night. He just can't do it alone. And he tells Dick he's leaving and you need to be a better Batman than him. And I'm thinking to myself, it was an emotional scene, but I can't feel nothing from it because I don't really truly know who this Batman is, but I'm starting to get now a glimpse of who this Batman is. And it's just like, they're making this Batman seem like this old frail man who can't go out into the night and do it on his own without having a young sidekick. And it's kind of like, why exactly can't he do it alone? Is it because of what I said, him being old and frail and can't go out at night and fight some like bad guy butt? Or is it because he looks at Jason and his like Robins as his actual son because, you know, his parents got taken away from him? So is it that emotional feeling? I don't know, because I really don't know this Bruce that well. And they just making him seem like a sad, pathetic little old man and stuff. Now, there's one thing that confuses me. When Bruce came in Dick's room at night with the bloody crowbar and he had blood on his face, he was acting all weird and hysterical. I assume he cut himself and was just freaking out. Then in the next episode, it's revealed that the Joker is dead and that Batman killed him. Now, I don't know if anybody actually saw Batman kill him, but I assumed that it would probably just be Jason who did it and they just assumed Bruce did it. But so far, all evidence points to Bruce. Bruce has finally murdered the Joker. And it's just like, this show is not writing these characters the way they are supposed to be portrayed. They can be as dark and gritty as they want, but these characters are not supposed to be this way. You're supposed to look up to your heroes, not think of them as psychotic like killers and stuff. And that's something that's always has pissed me off about this show since season 1, is that they do a piss poor job of how they write these characters. And they are still screwing it up. And of course, now all the fans are like, oh, show's fixed. Show's fixed. Show's better now. No, it's not. It's still the same show. You're just saying that because you don't want it to get canceled, because you'd rather have this show than have nothing at all. Plain and simple as that. I don't want this show to get canceled. I just want it to get better. When we got some really extremely cool Easter eggs. When Dick was down in the Batcave, we see Bruce was starting to recruit a brand new Robin after Jason Todd just died. And one of the things Barbara said is that Bruce um, brought in Jason a week after Dick Grayson left him. And because he just has no remorse, he just wants another Robin and somebody to fight crime with him. And so when we see this cool Easter egg of all the like Robins from the comic book, it's kind of like, okay, both Barbara and Dick was right about this Bruce. This dude is a jerk. This man literally just doesn't care and just wants to recruit some type of young sidekick to help him fight crime at night. And it's just like he has no sympathy. Like Jason literally just died, and he cares, but he doesn't care so much because it's like Bruce Wayne cares, but Batman doesn't, because Batman's just looking to like have a new like Robin and stuff. And so it's just kind of like, I don't get this. Like, this dude didn't act nothing like this in season 2, but now we know for a fact he is exactly how Dick described him in season 1. And it's because the writing is not consistent. Now, when it comes to this Batman, okay, look, I like Ian Glenn. The dude's a great actor. I first saw him in a Tomb Raider movie. And then I saw him in A City of Vice, and then of course Game of Thrones and stuff like that. The dude is a phenomenal actor, and he deserves the rewards that he gets. But this dude is not Bruce Wayne. He is not Batman. I'm sorry. He's 60 years old. He's really slim. You can still hear his Irish accent when he talks, when he tries to talk with an American one. He doesn't have that charisma. He has too much charisma and charm, not the way Bruce Wayne does. The way he walks is not the way you would think Bruce Wayne would walk. Nothing about this man's appearance and personality makes me think that, oh, he is the Batman. Because we saw what the suit looks like in Dick's Dream in season 1, and I don't think this dude could feel it. He's just not right for this role, and fans have been saying that since he got cast. And yet they still have him as Bruce Wayne and stuff. And it's just like, who I think would have been a better Bruce Wayne if they want to go that older route is Anson Mount, the dude who now plays Captain Pike in the Star Trek shows, but he's now playing Pike, so he can't do 2 shows. But this guy has a great look to him. His face looks like a Bruce Wayne Batman type face. He has the grayish black hair. And he would have been perfect for that role, I think, if he wasn't like tied up in another show. Now going back to Dick Grayson, I remember in season 1, like I said before, this dude was dark. He was angsty. He was grim. He will brutalize his victims when he fights them. And then when he reunited with Hawk and Hawk and Dove. I got the names mixed up. They saw firsthand how dark and gritty this dude has become, because when they used to hang with him back when he was a little bit younger and hanging out with Batman, he wasn't as violent. But now when they see him in a fight, he's as violent as they are, and they can't believe it. And so throughout that entire season, we see him be this dark, like, character who's always complaining about Batman and who takes the fight way too far, even to the point where some of the Titans have to pull him back because he's taking things too far in the fight, to the point where he is literally about to kill people. And this is not Dick Grayson. Dick Grayson is a dork. He is plucky. He has humor. He has smarts. He is literally the next Batman in line, and I don't see this dude being that unless this version of Batman really is that bad. And then when people kept complaining about that, they tried to literally change him halfway in the first season when they had this one awkward scene. He was talking to Wonder Girl, Donna, and And so like they're talking about how, you know, he can't give up that lifestyle, but he wants to, and how she's kind of retired and she takes pictures now. And he's at the museum and he's having this awkward conversation with this man about a painting, and then the man leaves, and then we see him talking to him, so talking about, I think he said something about like the penguin might want to steal this painting, but then he says it in a way that's kind of quirky, odd, and strange, and the expression on his face harpers back to a Robin we all know and love. So it was very inconsistent to see this dark, brooding person, but then to see his old personality come back for that one episode and that one episode only, just for him to go back to being that dark, brooding person that he is now become. Oh wait, I completely forgot. This Dick Grayson Robin, he technically didn't kill nobody, but he let somebody die. Remember Tony Zuko, the dude who killed his parents? In this one flashback episode, we see him beat the snot out of Tony Zuko to the point where he's literally about to kill him. But then these gangsters show up and they were going to gun him down. Now, he had already revealed his secret identity to Tony Zuko. So at some point, you know, he wasn't going to let him live because he knew that identity. But when the gangsters rolled up, Tony begged for his life and he begged Robin to save him. And Robin literally turned his back and walked away. And it's like he literally allowed that man to get murdered. So even though he didn't pull the trigger, he still committed like an act in some fashion, you know? And it's just like, I get it. He wanted revenge and all that other stuff. But it's like, this isn't Robin. This isn't Robin from the comic books, the cartoon series, none of that crap. Nothing in this show and these portrayals make me believe that these heroes are actually heroes. They're more like anti-heroes and stuff. And it's like, that's not who they are supposed to be. This is not who kids are supposed to look up to when they watch this show. Then in season 2, we find out that, you know, he did a terrible thing when he caused Jericho to lose his voice and stuff like that. And that's what caused Slay to be all pissed off. And so I think also he ended up dying. I can't remember. It's been a while since I saw season 2. But you know what? Yeah, he did this. He had this plan. He hashed this plan out. It caused his teammates to be pissed at him, and it caused all them to disband. And so we see him living with that trial and tribulations all throughout season 2, where the guilt is just too much for him, to the point where he assaults these cops and he gets arrested, then he breaks out of jail and he becomes Nightwing to stop Slade and everything. And so it's kind of like that whole season just dwelled on that, and it was not good. It took up way too much time. It took up way too much space. Also, this is what's confusing about this character. In season 1, it's shown that he is a cop, a detective. He's about somewhere in his mid-20s or so. And I think he operates out of Detroit. Raven comes to him saying she needs help. And so they go on this mission to try to help her. They have a very Wolverine, Rogue, Fox, X-Men type of relationship. That's how I view that. That's how she comes off as, especially, and him. And then after he leaves Detroit, we never see him go back. Never. Throughout season 1, he's going from one place to another, helping Raven and these new Titan people that he's recruited, kind of. Or he just took in. And even in season 2, he never goes back to his job as being a cop. In season 3, he never goes back to his job being a cop. So it's like, is he even still a cop? Like, do they ever wonder where this dude is at? And then not only that, but remember I said he got arrested for beating up some police officers because he wanted to get arrested in season 2. Then he breaks out of prison so that he can stop Slade. So he's a wanted fugitive. But in season 3, we see him prancing around Gotham in his regular civilian clothes and interacting with the cops. And it's just like, they act like, oh, nothing's ever happened. He is literally a wanted man. His pictures are up everywhere from season 2. How did the writers forget about this crap? And this is why I feel like this show is like all 3 seasons is in a parallel dimension. Now, in the comic books, Dick and Starfire are an item. They date. In season 1, we see that they have an attraction to each other and they sleep together. After that, Nothing. There's never no mention of that again. They don't act like they date each other anymore, and it's just like it's just like, what happened to that storyline? What happened to their relationship of season one? It's been completely erased from the entire series, and it's just like, this is why I feel like this show is in a parallel universe with each season. And then we see her date like this one guy now in season three. I think she met this alien dude who's told her he's like her right hand man type person in the alien world she's from. Her sister's coming down, and we see her sister coming down in the finale. And in this season, it was supposed to revolve all around her, but yet so far it's revolving around the whole Jason Todd thing. So she's probably about to get nerfed in her own season. But we do see her having an attraction to this other guy, and it's just like, what happened to Dick? Like, what happened to that actual relationship? I've always been wondering whatever happened to all of Dick's relationships. And because like they always get brought up a lot in season one. In season one, we found out that him and Dove had a thing together. And then I think it's even hinted that him and Wonder Girl had something together. And then of course he had something with Starfire. And in the first season, Starfire and Donna, Wonder Girl, they had a little bit of a rift, like conflict between each other. Then in season two, it's like completely forgotten. Not only is it forgotten, but it's never brought up again. The whole love triangle between Robin, Dove, and Hawk is never brought up again after season one. The rift between Corey and Donna is never brought up again. And now, we find out that him and Barbara had something together in season three. So it's kind of like each season, like I said before, is in its own parallel dimension, because something will happen and then it will never get brought up again in the next season. Now, I wanted to get into Jason's Todd Robin because he was shown frequently in the first episode of season three, and he's going to show up again as Red Hood when I watch this tonight. So the thing about him is that this is what's also confusing about the writers, is the age and the years. Barbara literally said that Batman recruited Jason 1 week after Robin left. Now in season one, I forgot how many years passed since Dick was Robin and then left Bruce. But he is a detective and he is in his mid-20s. And of course, he's a very young detective. Like, this dude went through the ranks very quickly and stuff. And so it's like, I'm not really sure how much time they said passed from him being Robin and then later leaving Bruce and stuff. It might be 2 years. I kind of remember them saying that, but I don't, because it hasn't been that long. But it's been long enough where he doesn't talk to him. But when I looked, I was trying to figure out, so okay, I've been online, see if I can figure it out. It says that when he became Robin, him and Alfred did not approve of all this stuff, and then 10 years later, he left Bruce. If it's been 10 years later, how has Jason got recruited 1 week later? Because Jason, from what it says online, Jason is 18 years old. And that's when he met Bruce for the first time, when he stole the hubcaps and stuff. And so it's like, okay, so how old is Jason now? 28? And it's like, no, he's literally 18. So Dick couldn't have left that many years and stuff. So it must have been at least it's been at least 2 years that he left and never talked to Bruce, maybe 2 to 4 years. And so like, okay, whatever. So Jason is 18 and stuff. But I could have sworn in the season 3 episode 1 that Bruce said he's known Jason since he was 11. So that don't make sense if he's known Jason since 11, but then he became Robin at 18, unless he was spying on all these young kids that had potential, which is probably what he did. And he's probably been spying on him since age 11 and stuff. But then it's the whole more confusion, because Barbara said that, Jason, she loved him, but he was a pain in the butt. But how long did she actually know him? Because in season 1, we are introduced to Jason Todd very early on, while Dick Grayson is still Robin. He had no idea that Bruce recruited another person, and so quickly. And so it's like, okay, so I'm pretty sure it's about 2 years that he left Bruce. So when he left Bruce and everything, 2 to 4, so let's say something like that. So in that time, Jason was robbed, and he interacted with Barbara Gordon. So I'm assuming she was still Batgirl at that time because there's never no I don't think there's never no mention of her in season 1 or 2. But I remember seeing a photo with Dick and a woman, and she had like this reddish hair. So I always assumed that was her in season 1. And then Barbara explains that the Joker paralyzed her and stuff. So it's kind of like, okay, now season 1 and season 2 are actually very close together. The events that happened in season 1, or the events of season 2 happened immediately after season 1. So there's no time for rest or nothing like that. There's no years past. So the season 1 is probably a combination of a couple of months to a whole year at the most. And in that whole time, there's no mention of Barbara, so she had to still been Batgirl. Now in season 3, we know from season 2 to season 3, 9 months have taken place. And so at some point in time, the Joker paralyzed her. And at that point in time, somehow she became Commissioner Gordon, the new Commissioner of Gotham, very quickly. And this is just kind of like, it just happens a little too quick. Like, when exactly did this happen? We know in Batman Beyond that happened many years later, and she was an older woman. That made more sense. But this Barbara Gordon is very young. So I just don't get the time wise of when she was Batgirl, when she got paralyzed, and when exactly did she know Jason. Because Jason hasn't even been Robin for that long, just like in the comic books and stuff. Also, with Robin, or Jason, if you thought Dick Grayson was angsty and twisted and everything from season 1, Jason is a maniac, a homicidal maniac, to the point where he almost kills people in the field. He has no remorse. He's just a wild card. He's just like nuts, and he just wants to beat the snot every bad person he sees. Then we get into season 2, and Bruce has had the point where he needs Jason to mature. So he sends him off to join the Titans and be with Dick, so that he can like be more humanistic, I guess, which doesn't make no sense because Dick Grayson isn't really humanistic and stuff. So I don't get it, but whatever. And when we see this Jason in season 2, he is extremely toned down. He's still like a wild party type dude, but he's not as crazy as he was before, always wanting to beat and kill people. But he makes so many mistakes along the way, and then he has this really emotional scene where he almost dies and falls out of a window, and it haunts him throughout the entire season. Then when he finds out that Slade's daughter was Rose was using him, he literally has this nervous breakdown. It's just kind of like he feels bad he got played by this girl. And it's just like, this isn't the same dude from season 1. His personality has completely changed. And it makes no sense because it's kind of hard to grapple of who exactly he is. I mean, I get his character development, but it's a strange shift. And it's only a strange shift because they try to have a lighter tone. And so it was weird to see him, this homicidal maniac in season 1, to him being this little wimpy boy in season 2. Now, what also don't make no sense is that after season 2, he said literally he's done. He's done with the Titans and he's done with Batman. And he's going to go off on his own and be his own person. And then we see now in season 3, he is still Robin. He's still living with Bruce. He's still doing the Batman Robin thing. So what happened to this whole he's going off on his own thing? It's almost like the writers forgot about that in the finale of season 2 and just said, screw it, we're going to come up with our own thing. And then not only that, but he wants to go up against the Joker and prove his worth and everything, because he feels when they're going to get an opportunity to, like, stop the Joker, and they know exactly where he's at. Now, this is what doesn't make no sense. He has like this chemical compound. I assumed it was venom because it's green, and most of the time venom is green in the comic books, or it's like a yellowish kind of color. Well, this one time it was red, but most of the time it's green. And so it's like, okay, he uses that not to be scared anymore, and he's gonna go fight the Joker, but of course he ends up dying. And the way the Joker gets the jump on him was kind of pathetic. But if he's such a wild card, then of course he's not that skilled to, start listening to everything around him. And the way the Joker killed him was like awesome. Even though they changed it from him blowing up, it was still a nice touch and everything. And so Dick, when he sees the chemistry book, he starts to use his detective skills and figure out why is Jason reading a chemistry book when Jason doesn't like to read at all. He doesn't even like to read the back of a cereal box, he tells Barbara. And Barbara's all like, whatever, there's nothing to this. He's an angsty kid. He went to go prove himself. He died in the story. She's not even trying to figure out why he had a chemistry book, but Dick is. And she's supposed to be the commissioner of Gotham City. And you think she would want to, and she's also a former member of the Bat family. So you think she would want to like investigate that, but of course Dick does. And then he finds out Jason's been making some strange chemical that is not on their radar. And so this is a mystery all on its own. I'll probably figure that out in episode 2 and stuff. But then it's just kind of like, even for Jason to come up with this chemical, if he came up with it on his own or had somebody to help him do it, still, what happened to him wanting to be on his own? Like, why is he still with Bruce? That doesn't make no sense. Also, now since I watched episode 2 and 3, Jason, jeez, man, like, I gotta say, even though I never liked this character, I'm glad he's acting like the comic book version when he's Red Hood. Like, the things he are doing are just like, holy crap. However, something I don't understand about this dude. Jason is way more smarter now than he ever was in season 1 and 2. Now, yeah, like Dick said, the dude doesn't read, but he's been reading a chemistry book. But there's no way he can get that smart that fast in 9 months. Like, the dude was just a diphead in the first 2 seasons, and now he's like a mastermind, like, dude who rocking some heavy, like, electronic stuff that's like blowing people up, and he's using Wayne Tech stuff, and it's just like, and then not only that, but he's like out thinking like Dick Grayson, and it's just like, how did this dude become this smart so fast in just 9 months? You can't become that fast just by reading a chemistry book. So I am kind of curious to see who exactly he's working with that's helping him and stuff. Like I said before, the helmet looks horrendous. It looks like CGI. It looks like some cheap crap design material, and they should have gave that dude a better helmet. Power Ranger helmets are better looking than that. His suit is fine. I wish they would have went with the first classic suit, as opposed to like the newer versions from the games. But like I said before, it is a great suit. So But yeah, it's just, I am really curious to see why he's doing all that he's doing. It'll be interesting if Raven somehow is controlling his mind and she not even aware of really what she's doing. That would be interesting. Oh, also, I can't be the only one who thinks the Red Hood helmet looks kind of funny looking. It just looks ridiculous. Also, it looks like it's CGI for some bizarre reason. It just doesn't look real. What happened to this show's budget? I will admit, they got a better Batcave than the one in Batwoman show, but they couldn't even get a decent motorcycle helmet to put on that dude's head. Like, I don't get it. But then let's get to the actual Titan team, for example. In season 1, this is what really confused me when I watched season 2. In season 1, there is no mention whatsoever that Robin was part of a group called the Titans. And the Titans consist of Robin, Aquaman, Wonder Girl, and Doc. I'm saying it again. Hawk and Dove. He's saying Doc. But Hawk and Dove. There's no indication whatsoever that they was ever a group operating outside of San Francisco in season 1 in the past. It was shown that they would hang out with each other when the adult superheroes would be around, and they will occasionally hang with each other and fight together, but there was never no indication that they were a superhero group. Never whatsoever. So then when he does take in Starfire, Raven, and Beast Boy, there's still no indication of him being in a group called the Titans. He's never mentioned to them. we literally as viewers are expecting, okay, this is going to be the incarnation that everybody knows and love, and they're now forming their group, but they're forming it very slowly. Then in season 2, we see, oh wait, the Titans have been around for a long time and they have their own base of operations, and so many people know of them, and they have this huge history of them fighting heroes and stuff, but yet nobody mentions that in season 1. Even Beast Boy, who's like a huge fanboy, he doesn't even mention that. And so it's kind of like the writers of season 2 just completely ignored what happened in season 1 and just rewrote the show for season 2. And it's just kind of like, this is why I feel like this show is in a parallel dimension and stuff. Now, one interesting thing I am finding out about season 3 is like, okay, they're kind of starting to shift away from that dark grittiness, and they're trying to get more light friendly and stuff, right? But this is what's so confusing, is that they still have their dark grittiness. They're trying to sprinkle in a little humor and more smiles and stuff. But when the Titans start fighting the bad guys, they play this off the wall kind of music that does not fit with the show. Not only does it not fit with the show, it just doesn't fit with action fighting, period. It's like this hokey, slap happy music for like a dark setting. It's like this show is in conflict with itself. Like, it's like some people who control this show, they want it to be still the dark gritty thing, but they're trying to make the fans happy by trying to make it a little light and fluffy. And it's just not working out. It just feels stupid. Like, it just feels, that's the only way I can just think. It just feels stupid. Like, I'm on the second episode now. And these last 2 episodes, it's like, all I hear is this slap happy music when they fight. And it's just like, I don't get this crap, man. It's like, because I want to love this show so badly, so bad. Cause, you know, when I was in college, I watched the Teen Titan cartoon show, you know? And it's just, I can't deal with this show. Like, they need to really, truly fix this show. But I can't wait to get to the 3rd episode, because everybody keep talking about how great the 3rd episode is. I'm so curious to know what the ending's about. That's my problem with this show. It's like, look, you've already tainted this show with how dark and gritty it is in season 1. If you was going to change things up, you should have changed things up in season 2. Don't try changing things now in season 3, all because of the backlash and all because you had to go to another platform and stuff. I think I started talking about Starfire at first, and then I think I stopped. Anyway, Starfire. This is not the Starfire I know and love from the animated series. This actress, this version of her, she just acts like a regular blunt woman. Like, she doesn't act naive like Starfire would. She's not sweet like Starfire is. She's not oblivious to everything like Starfire normally is. This actress, I love her performance. I don't care that she's black, because I'm black. I would like for her to have orange skin, like a real Starfire, but she don't. And I would love for her energy blast to be green, but they're not. But it's just like, this woman is supposed to be like an alien in the show, and she knows everything there is to know about humans and Earth, and I don't understand how that is. But she is in fact an alien. They did go that route. They just didn't go like a true route. Now, in season 1, she loses her memory. And so she's going around town trying to remember it. But then she gets mixed up with Dick and Raven. Turns out when she does regain some of her memories, she was sent to kill Raven, because Raven is supposed to release Trigon. Everybody knows of him because he is literally the devil of DC. And his legends expands throughout like the alien races and mythological races and everybody in DC universe. So she's been sent to stop him. I think she was also experimented on when she did come to Earth and lost her memories and stuff. She gets her memories back, I think, when she finds her ship. I forgot what happens after the ship and everything like that. Now, one thing that's interesting in season 1, like I said before, she just straight up kill people with her fire blast. At first, she can't really control them. Then In season 2, it's shown that her energy blast doesn't work at night. But I remember them working at night in season 1. So once again, this show is not consistent. Also, something else that's interesting. Oh, also with Starfire, I forgot in season 1 her hair would like light up like luminesce when she uses her powers. Now in season 3, it don't do that no more. I don't even think it did it in season 2 all that much. It's like everything is so different now. Also, when it comes to Starfire, where did she get her outfit in season 3? In season 3, it's shown now she has a superhero outfit similar to that of how she is in the comics. And it's kind of like, where did she get it from? It's never been explained. It explained where Dick got his Nightwing costume, but it's never explained where she got hers. Now in season 2, it was kind of nice to see her and Raven interact because those two really don't get along very well in like the animated series. And they actually have one argument with each other, which is really cute. Like they're just like going at each other, but then all of a sudden they're like, "You want to hug this out?" And she's like, "Yes, please." And then they just like have this cute little moment and stuff. So I do appreciate the writers trying to like change the tone of these characters, but it needs to stay that way. Now in season 3, her personality has really shifted. She's more bubbly and laughy when she talks and stuff. And for one scene and one scene only. But then after that one scene, she's back to being her blunt, brute like self, you know? And it's just like, I don't get it. Like, how are the writers writing her? They need to write her either as being blunt like she is or bubbly like she's trying to be now. And now when it comes to Raven, she doesn't remind me of Raven. Like I said, she reminds me of Rogue from the X-Men movies. She's way too emotional. I do love the way her demonic powers looked in season 1. That was amazing. But then of course in season 2, they ran out of a budget and they had to change it up to just a bunch of like mist, like black mist and fog and smoke and stuff like that, which was not cool at all. The entire Trigon season arc of season 1 was terrible. It was terribly handled. It was nothing, it's not even close to being as good as it was in the animated series or the animated movie. And it was just a watered down version of it because they just didn't have the budget. And then when we get into season 2, we see that her personality is still for the most part the same. She's a little less kitty than she was in season 1. I don't really remember much about her in season 2. I just remember her losing control and her powers doing some strange stuff and her saying that she can resurrect Donna and all this other stuff, and like her powers are just out of whack in season 2 to the point where she reunites the team because she wants them to be like a group again, and she uses her powers to do that, but she doesn't even know she's using her powers when she does that. Beast Boy is just there. They don't ever do nothing with this character. In all of season 1, he shows up halfway into season 1. And then it's shown that he's living with the Doom Patrol and he only turns into a tiger. He only turned into a snake once when he was mind controlled, but he turns into a tiger and he doesn't like it. He also stated that when he transforms into an animal, he is completely butt naked. Because he has to take off his clothes, get butt naked, and then, you know, he has to find his clothes and everything like that. And it's a recurring gag. And then in season 3, something strange happens. He's more confident. He's more, like, in season 2, we saw him be a little bit quirky, a little bit. Now, one episode he was really in. Other than that, he's just a shy character. In season 3, he has more of a bubbly personality now, similar to that of the animated series. And he's a whole lot better fighter now since being with the Titans. Here's the strange thing. When he was fighting the bad guys, he turns into a tiger. And then soon after, and a couple of moments later, we see him with his clothes on. And it's kind of like, when did he have time to change? It's just like they set it up that when he changed into an animal, he has to take his clothes off, be naked, and turn into an animal. When did he have time to change? So you mean to tell me he's fighting bad guys, and then we see him literally transform off screen within a split second. He did not have time to take his clothes off. And then After he's done turning to animal, a few seconds pass again and he has his clothes back on. They're not ripped up or nothing like that. And it's just like, I don't get it. Like, I just don't get it. You set it up to where when he transformed, this has to happen. His clothes are not transformed with him. And now you're setting it up to where it's just like, oh, well, time convenience. Then there's Wonder Girl. She's retired in season 1 and she's a photographer, but then we see her occasionally help out towards the end of season 1. Then in season 2, what happened to her being retired? Now she seems to be full back onto the team and she's helping out in the missions left and right, and then she ends up dying. But which is still kind of weird because she's supposed to be Wonder Girl, this Amazonian type person. How's she gonna die from lightning, And so of course she's gonna get resurrected in season 3 because they already spoiled it with the group picture and stuff. Then there's Hawk and Dove, and I actually said it right this time. These two people are very, very, very gritty. So gritty that I'm very shocked. Now Hawk, I'm not surprised at all because he's always been a gritty person. Dove, dude, when she fought in season 1, she was like slashing the dude with her wings and stuff. She's supposed to be the more reserved, friendlier person. And it's just like, with these two people, I don't really like what they're writing for them. I don't like how Hawk has a drug addiction to steroids and all this other stuff and pain medications because he goes out at night and he gets banged up, so he heals himself with drugs. Yeah, I guess that's realistic when you think about it, but heroes are supposed to be heroic. Then in season 2, they have a falling out with each other to where they break up. And then he messes around and he gets with somebody else. And then I think they get reunited again where they're all about lovey-dovey with each other. And it's kind of like, I don't understand the consistency of these characters. Like, it's nice to have that romantic element in that feud, but it's like, I don't understand why they're on a Titans show when they were never part of the Titans in the comic books. I do like these characters. I wish they would have their own show. That would be nice. I don't see them fitting in the whole Titan universe. So I just finished episode 3 and holy crap, I can't believe what they just did. I can't believe they killed Hawk. Like, no, man, no. It's like, even though I don't like the fact that he like shoots up, I don't like the fact that him and Dove are odd play for the Titans. I still like his character and I like the actor who plays him and stuff. And it's like, because like the dude's suit's cool, he's tough, and not only that, the dude has like a great smile when he's in that suit. And it's like, I can't believe they did that. But I will say this. Even though I still feel as though all 3 seasons are still a mess, even though I still feel that each season is set in its own continuity, its own parallel like dimension, season 1 and 3 probably feel the most similar. Jason is still chaotic and like a psychopath like he was in season 1. Dick is still ruthless when he fights, breaking people's arms and stuff. Dove is still slashing and gashing people when she fights them. So for the most part, those people still feel, and then of course Hank still feels like Hank. So those people still feel like, the same. The only people that are different are now Starfire and Beast Boy. Their personalities have completely shifted and stuff. And I do like Beast Boy a whole lot more this season. He's not doing much, but at least he's starting to act more like Beast Boy. And he has a personality finally. He was just a plank of wood in the last 2 seasons. And, as for Starfire, I just noticed they gave her green contact lenses. She looks so awkward. Now, the best way she ever looked was in season 2. And in season 2, she had like the best personality. In season 1, she was just a hot mess by the way she just looked and stuff. And how her story was so inconsistent. And then in season 2, she was actually a little bit better. And then now in season 3, it's just like, they don't know what to do with her. And I felt bad for the actress and stuff. And you know, one other thing that's a piggyback off season one is all of Dick's relationships that like never get brought up again. Like the whole Starfire relationship in season one, how him and Dove had a thing back in the day, and now like he had a thing back with Barbara and stuff. I really hope this show like improves, man, because I really want to like it so bad. But for now, I'm still digging on Doom Patrol and Stargirl. As for Superboy, I have no gripes about Superboy. He's actually pretty cool in the series, from season 2 and in season 3. And I really like in season 3 how like he built that machine, had no idea what he was doing, but he speed read the book, and then he was able to use his super speed to like build the machine. Sadly, he was not able to save Hank though. But it was a touching scene with him looking at Hank's body exploding and knowing he got there too late. In season 2, it was pretty cool how this version is very like naive. He's not like the angry one we always see, but I would like to see him get just a little bit more angry and a little bit more tougher and stuff, and have him do more like punching and other stuff like that. Where is Rose Wilson? You know, Ravenger. I thought she joined the Titans at the end of season 2. I can't really remember because it's been a while. I have to rewatch the entire season, but I'm pretty sure she joined the team in season 2. So where is she at? Like, she's nowhere to be found in this entire season, not even the promotional pictures. Another thing that's been plaguing this show is the pacing issue. Sometimes they lag, sometimes a scene will lag on way too long, far too long, before they get into the next scene or the new characters. It's been happening ever since season 1. I remember in the pilot episode, which I actually liked the pilot episode a lot. The whole first half of that episode focused on Dick and Raven. Then halfway into the episode, then they start focusing on Starfire. It was literally like the show was split in half, and they should have mixed it in better, but they didn't. And then, like I said before, sometimes they lag on a scene, and they just like have it going on way too long. Like take season 3 episode 1 with the whole Tim Drake stuff. That should have been a few minutes here and there, because so far he's not a major player in the show. He probably will be when I watch the rest of the episode, but so far he's just a regular guy who has an obsession with Batman. And so we see him. This is nice seeing him and his family. Seeing him, the cops are harassing him. I didn't like that. But the scene with him and his family is nice. And then he finds out Jason, Robin is dead. He don't know who Jason is, but he finds out Robin is dead. And that scene literally went on for at least a full 10 minutes, maybe longer than that. And it's just like, why did they drag on that scene for so long? And it kind of took you out of the show, because it's kind of like, that really didn't have nothing to do with the plot, really. We know as fans he's going to become Robin, but people who've never heard this character don't know that. Now, as for the Joker, it's sad to see the Joker is now dead in this universe. And it's sad we couldn't get a full, real good glimpse of him in his face in the after. I mean, I guess we just got to sell from the back shot, and he was whacking the crap out of Jason with that crowbar, so that was cool and stuff. But it's like, man, I wish DC would just let up on some of their characters and let them show up in like TV shows and stuff. Like, it took forever for Superman to show up in the Arrowverse, and it took forever for Bruce Wayne just to show up like anywhere. Now, one person I haven't really mentioned is Jonathan Crane, the Scarecrow. Now, when I first saw Jason Todd take that chemical concoction, I first assumed it might have been Venom, because he's going to go up against the Joker and he wants some extra strength. But when he didn't Hulk out, I'm like, okay, it couldn't be that. Then Crane showed up. I'm like, oh, okay, he re-engineered the fear toxin. Now, this version of Scarecrow is bizarre. He doesn't really act like the Scarecrow from any other incarnation I've seen. This one talks very strange in a quirky kind of way, but in a twisted, quirky kind of way. Also, this dude is always smoking weed, like constantly. And he talks to Dick like he's a psychiatrist, but technically he is. He used to be a psychiatrist, you know, and try to help people with their fears, but then end up like making them scared because he used to test his fear toxin on them because he just loves the idea of scaring people. But it's just strange, like this dude's always smoking weed and he talks very quirky. Like he's just a strange scarecrow. And he doesn't have red hair. At least give the man red hair. God, like in live action, the man never has red hair. Now, as I was looking for pictures for this video, the dude that plays Scarecrow, Vincent Karchinger, apparently he's being investigated because of misconduct on the set of Titan Season 3. It doesn't say what he did, but he had 2 incidents. The first incident, they say it wasn't warranted a firing, but then the second one caused them to keep an eye on him and have somebody constantly following him around. Dude, what did this guy do? And why can't people just stop being buttheads? Like seriously, man, with the whole like Me Too thing and Time's Up, you'd think people would behave themselves. I am hoping that this series will evolve and actually turn better. And yes, they still have the blue tint, like the blue filter tint. It has not went away. It went away in one scene with the Tim Drake, but it did not go away after that. And they brought it back. I don't understand. I don't understand why so many reviewers are saying that the show is now fixed when it still is not, and there's so many continuity issues. And they keep saying it's fixed because the blue tint is gone, but the blue tint is still there, people. You know it is when they went back to the Batcave and Wayne Manor. And I want to end this video on a lasting image from the promotional picture of season 3. As you can see, the cast, it is way too big for a show. There is no way in the world all these people are going to get equal screen time and character development. There's going to be some rushing in this season, I bet you anything. And I know what you're saying. In the comic books, superhero groups like this are like 3-4 times bigger. That's true. But the problem with this show is this show still hasn't even fleshed out its main cast members from season 1 yet. There are still pretty much everybody is not fully fleshed out yet, except for, of course, Dick Grayson, Nightwing. Everybody else, we're still somewhat in the dark end, and their personalities and their situations constantly keep shifting. We haven't gotten to Raven yet this season. She'll probably show up in episode 4. And I'm really curious to know what they're going to do with her, and if they're going to change her from last season, because her personality did kind of shift from season 1 to season 2. So there's really no telling, you know? Alrighty, well, I'll talk to y'all later. Bye.